How are you?
Great, how are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Hi.
Hey
Sorry I'm
guys.
late. Sorry I'm late. Oh
Hi,
my
everyone.
Barbie, your
gosh.
camera angle shift a little bit.
Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you. Oh, I just woke up.
Barbie, it's 1 in the afternoon.
I know. I'm just tired. I can't help it.
Making the best of social distancing, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
how's everyone?
Good.
Good.
Um,
Yeah.
Good?
Good.
good. Quarantine life, I guess. We're
Yeah, we're
handling it.
getting through. We're
Yeah.
getting through.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So what are we talking about today?
Yep.
So I was thinking we could do a check-in today since you guys have been working as peer consultants in the speaking studio for about 9 weeks now. Just want to get a feel for how your experience has been, what you've seen with students so far, especially now that this semester has been online.
Yeah, I feel like it's quite different from what we're used to when we are having one-on-one physical consultations on campus. Nowadays, like I feel like a lot of students are coming to us to ask for how to do recorded individual presentations and then submitting it to the teacher afterwards. So it's not like handling the situation live as live presentation. They have to do the PowerPoints and everything. So I think we're like coming up with this challenge, but then we're trying to handle it as best as we can.
Yeah, actually, we were just speaking about it because we realized we have a lot of different tips to offer them this semester now. So, Barbie, show her the surprise.
Okay, Abby, you're gonna be so impressed. We came up with a PowerPoint on some of the tips that we can offer to students when they're recording their individual presentations. Okay, so let me open it up for you now. Wait a second, Zoom. Okay, here we go. Tips for recorded individual presentations. So one of the most important points that I think we have to address is using your voice when you're doing a presentation. And I'm going to be talking about the idea of like enunciation as well as intonation. So they sound a bit like a linguistic technical points, but then actually quite simple to like try to follow through. So the first idea is that you have to remember to enunciate your words and pronounce them clearly because it is important for people to make sure they understand the key points or the terminology that is important to your presentation so that they can get the idea, you can get the idea across more efficiently. And the second thing is we should probably talk in a tone that communicates with the audience. So compared to using a flat, boring tone the entire time, there should be changes in your tone according to the contents that you're talking about. So for example, if you're talking about something that's very exciting or that's something that's positive, maybe your voice might be a little bit higher. Or if you're talking about something more serious, then you can bring it down a little bit. So this helps your audience identify the significant or exciting points in your presentation, as well as help them and yourself connect with the emotion of what you're talking about. And last but not least, I feel like pauses are very, very important because they help you distinguish different points and topics that you're talking about. They capture people's attention on what you're talking about, and they let them have new time to digest new information. So it's crucial to bear in mind that a fast speaker does not equal a good speaker, and sometimes pauses are very effective.
Barbie, if I may add here, I'd say record yourself and listen back to it as an audience because no one can hear you and identify your mistakes as good as you could yourself.
Yeah, and another tip that I have for everyone here is that I'm sure that during presentation is actually quite a thing that you will make you very nervous. But I think one thing that we could do is that just imagine that a presentation is just but a casual conversation with your friend. So this could definitely calm your nerves, but also um, put you in a way that what you're doing is just but a casual conversation that you're trying to convince what you're saying to your friend is indeed interesting. And also another point that I would like to make is that when you're doing your presentation, try to be hyped. Try to be
Woo!
excited. Because the goal for a presentation is to convince that your audience, your content is interesting. So what you have to do as a first step is to convince yourself by being hyped. Right, so I think that's pretty much about, using our voice. Let's move on to another big chunk, which is our presentation.
Love and social pressure can both exist. So this is what I found a lot of students tend to do in their presentations, just hold the papers in their hands. This does not communicate with the audience very well. So here are some tips that I give them. First, doing a presentation is not reading an essay out loud. Therefore, we should not use written language all the time. Talk to the audience when possible. For instance, we can say, I will introduce you to, or let's look at. This will help you to interact with the audience very effectively. Second tip, to maintain eye contact is super important. When reading from the papers, we will lose eye contact with our audience. Therefore, be aware that there's a camera just right in front of us. Third tip, to show transitions between different sections. When finishing one section, we can say, then we will look into, or the next section will be, so that the audience can follow our arguments very easily.
Yeah, I think it's also really important for us to show our faces. I mean, it makes it a lot easier for our audience to pay attention when they can see our facial expressions.
Yes, I definitely agree. And don't underestimate the power of a smile. Show some positive facial expressions when possible will help you to connect with your audience.
Come on, guys. I know that's important, but it's not all in the face. I mean, if you cannot show your face for any reason, or for example, you're doing an audio narration, there's a lot of other points that you could use. Let me share some with you. So first of all, I'd say, try to begin by pointing out the purpose of your presentation to the audience. Don't keep them guessing at where you're trying to lead them to. And then after that, I'd say start with strong opening and closing sentences, something that instantly grabs the attention of the audience. There are a variety of ways of doing that depending on your content. So for example, you can start off with a question. And then after that, I'd say,
Okay, no worries, Lisa. I think this is actually a very good example of another thing that we should bear in mind when doing our presentation, which is watching out for repetitive or filler words such as you know, or like. So because sometimes if you repeat those filler words, it might take away the credibility or the comprehension of the presentation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we're in the same situation as Fizza and we lose our point midway, it's okay to say, sorry, just give me a few moments to gather my thoughts, to inform the audience. Saying this will put us at ease and also buy us time with our audience. It also makes the situation less awkward, and it's okay if we make mistakes. We can just continue presenting.
Thanks, guys, for the reminder. Now that I've had a few moments to gather my thoughts, I was talking about opening and closing sentences. So as for the closing sentence, ideally in both content and tone, it should express that you are indeed done. So now that we are done with this section, let's move on to the next one.
Right, so let's move on to the more technical bits, which is about visual aids first. Now, this example is a slide that you would like to avoid because it is basically too wordy. The problem of a wordy slide is that the audience will pay their full attention on the slides with no attention to what you're saying. So it is always important for us to make more concise and precise slides so that the audience can balance in between listening to what you're saying and looking at the slides, because ultimately the most important thing in a presentation is you convey the content that you wish your audience to receive. Another technical bit that I would like to share, which is about our recording. Now, the usual saying goes, practice makes perfect, is that don't be scared to do rehearsals, especially recorded ones, because by doing recorded rehearsal, you'll be able to see yourself on which section that you're doing a good job in and which section that you might want to just, practice a little bit more.
I mean, if you remember Barbie's camera angle in the beginning, it didn't look so good. So camera angles and visual presentation matter. So if we're recording ourselves for our speaking presentation, we should wear a presentable top, try and find a relatively clear background like a white wall with decent lighting. We should angle the camera so we appear at the center of the frame and at eye level. Doing all of this will make us look more professional. Also, if we're recording with a phone, we should hold it horizontally. This is how our videos will be displayed in the computers of our viewers.
Yeah, so here are some of the points that we've come up with on how to improve recorded individual presentations. What do you think about them so far, Abby?
I think that's really great, guys. I think it shows how much you've learned this semester working with students and catering to the needs of all the online assessments. I think you have some really good tips for them about using your voice and about the presentation itself and about more technical things like visual aids and recording tips. And I think that's going to be very useful for them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys. I guess since that's all we were going to talk about today, we're done in time for lunch.
Oh, thank goodness. I think I'm going to take another nap. I need it.
I'll be out. Bye-bye, guys.
Yeah. Bye. See you next week.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I just want to show you this. Oh, you guys have all left. Well, so I hope that you have enjoyed this presentation and you will find some of the content useful. And until then, see you next time.